encourage you to store the matrices as A's and B's, and then just use the kind of the shortcut for that. Okay, so here's how I would approach this. Okay? Knowing that I'm going to do multiple calculations with the same matrices and I don't want to retype them every time, I'm going to store this first matrix as A. So again, if you remember how to do that, second square bracket, I'm going to enter my first line. My first row is 2, 1. Separate the columns by commas. Okay. Semicolon jumps down to the next row, -2, comma 0. Close off my matrix. So here is matrix A. So I'm going to hit this store button. Creates a little arrowhead on my display, and I'm going to store it as A. So I'm going to select that. Hit enter. Now it's done. Okay. So anytime I use the value A, it represents this entire matrix, which I can confirm my values are correct. And do the same thing with B. So create a matrix, type in my first row, 4, 3, jump to the second row with a semicolon, 2, 0, close off my matrix. I want to store this as B, so I hit the store button, select B, hit enter. So now that's stored as my B value. So again, confirm it to make sure I have my values set correctly. And then I'm simply going to take A times B. So now, because I have my values stored properly, if I take A times B and hit enter, I get my solution. And remember, when you do enter these online, you have to enter them in the same format that we're entering here. Across the top row, I get 10, 6, semicolon to jump to the next row, -8, -6, close off my matrix. So this would be how I'd enter my answer. Do you think the product of B times A is going to be the same? You would think that, but it's not. Okay? One of the things, and I'll talk more about this next class, but if you were to multiply by hand, it's a lot more time-consuming process. So multiplication among matrices is not commutative like it is with regular numbers. Aaron, question? Okay, yeah, we'll go through that next class. Mondo. Well, when I go through it by hand, what you're going to see is it's set up in a different fashion than what you might think. That's why I'm just having you use your calculators to do it. Okay, so if we take the product of B times A, again, by entering it, take B times A, hit enter, okay, you get different set of answers. And again, I'll go through the why of that next class. But our top row is 4, 2, semicolon, jump to the next second row. Or the top row is 2, 4, second row is 4, 2. Close it off, and you get your solution. Okay, and the same thing can happen even if you're using multiple, or kind of combining multiple terms. Okay, the one thing, though, to keep in mind, if you are using the store feature and using A and B to represent matrices, you have to explicitly multiply products. You can't just say 3AB. If you type 3AB plus 2B, your calculator doesn't distinguish this as individual values A and B. It distinguishes it as a single variable called AB that represents both of those. So you have to explicitly multiply. And now, when you put a number in front of a variable, it understands that's multiplication. But anytime you put a variable first or followed by a second variable, you have to explicitly multiply. So now if I hit enter, I get my solution. Again, across the top, 38, 24, semicolon, across the bottom, -20, -18. And I get my solution in that sense.